My husband told me he cheated because watching me give birth to our daughter ruined his attraction to me. He said it 8 weeks after I came home from the hospital. I was standing in our bathroom at 2 a.m. My body was still healing, still trying to figure out how to be normal again after 9 hours of labor that ended with an emergency procedure that left me recovering for weeks. I heard him on the phone in the bedroom. His voice was low, careful, the tone people use when they're saying things they don't want overheard. "I miss you too," he said. I know it's hard. Just a little longer." I stood frozen in the bathroom doorway. Our daughter was asleep in the bassinet next to our bed. She'd finally stopped crying after 2 hours of screaming, 2 hours of me walking in circles around our apartment, bouncing her, singing to her, begging her to please just sleep. He turned and saw me. His face went white. "Who was that?" I asked. "Work," he said. Too fast, too practiced. At 2 a.m., he put his phone down. "You should be resting." "Who were you talking to, Cameron?" "It's nothing. Go back to sleep." But I couldn't sleep. I hadn't really slept in 8 weeks. Our daughter cried constantly. The doctor said it was normal, colic. She'd grow out of it. But in the meantime, I was awake for 20 hours a day, holding a screaming infant while my body tried to heal from being torn apart. Cameron helped sometimes. He'd hold her for an hour after work, rock her while I took a shower. Then he'd hand her back when she started crying and disappear into his office. He had work to do, important meetings. I understood. I did. But I was drowning. I checked his phone the next morning while he showered. I'd never done that before. Never felt the need. We trusted each other. Or I thought we did. Found messages going back 5 months. To someone named Amber from his office. The messages were explicit, detailed, full of promises about what they'd do once the baby was born and things got back to normal. Once I got my body back. Once I was myself again. There were photos. Her photos. Ones she'd sent him, and ones he'd sent back. Pictures of hotel rooms. Pictures of them together. Smiling, happy. While I was at home pregnant with his child, I sat on our bed holding his phone while he hummed in the shower. While our daughter slept in the bassinet. While my entire world crumbled into dust. When he came out, towel around his waist, hair wet, I held up his phone with the messages on the screen. "Explain this." He didn't even try to deny it, just sighed, like I'd caught him in something mildly inconvenient, like I'd found out he forgot to pay a bill. "I was going to tell you. When you were ready to hear it." I stared at him. This man I'd been with for 6 years. This man I'd married in a garden ceremony where he cried during his vows. This man whose baby I'd just had. "I just had your baby," I said. My voice came out flat, dead. "When exactly would I be ready to hear that you've been cheating on me?" "It's complicated," he said. "Then uncomplicate it." He pulled on a shirt, wouldn't look at me. "Can we not do this right now? I have a meeting in an hour." "You have a meeting?" I repeated. "Yes, an important one. Your wife just found out you're cheating and you have a meeting." "I can't cancel it," he said. "We'll talk tonight, I promise." He left, just walked out, grabbed his briefcase and his coffee, and walked out the door like it was a normal Tuesday morning, like he hadn't just destroyed everything. I sat there holding his phone until our daughter woke up screaming. That day was the longest of my life. I fed her, changed her, rocked her, put her down. She screamed. I picked her up, repeated the process. My body was exhausted. Every movement hurt. The doctor said it would take time to heal, that I needed to be patient with myself. But I didn't have time to be patient. I had a baby who needed me. I hadn't eaten all day, hadn't showered, hadn't done anything except keep this tiny human alive while my brain replayed those messages over and over, while I imagined Cameron with her, with Amber. While I was home pregnant, he was with her. Cameron came home at 9 p.m. I was sitting on the couch with our daughter finally asleep on my chest. I was afraid to move, afraid to breathe. She'd been crying for hours and I couldn't handle her starting again. "We need to talk," I said quietly. He loosened his tie, set down his briefcase. "I know. Who is she?" "Someone from work. It doesn't matter. It matters to me." He sat down on the chair across from me, not next to me, across from me, like we were strangers. "Her name is Amber. She works in marketing. We've been seeing each other for a few months." 5 months, I said, according to your messages. "Okay, 5 months. I was pregnant." "I know. I was carrying your baby, and you were seeing someone else." He ran his hands through his hair. That gesture he did when he was stressed, when things weren't going his way. "The pregnancy changed things." "What things?" "Between us. You were different. Focused on the baby. I felt like I'd lost you. I was growing a human being," I said. "Our human being." "I know. And I tried to be supportive. I went to all the appointments. I helped set up the nursery. But you didn't need me anymore. You had the baby. That was all that mattered. So, you cheated." "I needed to feel wanted again," he said. "Amber made me feel that way." I looked at him, really looked at him, trying to find the man I'd married somewhere in this stranger's face. "When did you stop loving me?" "I didn't stop loving you." "Then why?" He was quiet for a long time. Our daughter shifted on my chest, made a small sound. We both froze, waited. She settled back into sleep. "The birth changed things," he said finally. "What do you mean?" "I mean I was there. In the delivery room. I saw everything." My stomach dropped. I knew where this was going. Somehow I knew. "And?" I said. "And I can't get those images out of my head," he said quietly. "Watching you give birth. It wasn't beautiful or miraculous like everyone says. It was traumatic. And you were different. Not the woman I married. And now when I look at you, that's all I see." I couldn't breathe, couldn't speak. Just sat there holding our daughter while her father told me he was disgusted by me. "So you cheated on me because I gave birth to our daughter." "I cheated because I needed to feel attracted to someone again," he said. "Because I couldn't feel that way about you anymore. Because every time I look at you, I see what happened in that room." I almost died. I whispered. Having your baby. I almost died. I know, and I'm sorry, but I can't help how I feel. You're disgusted by me. I'm not disgusted. I just can't see you the same way, because I gave birth. Yes. I looked down at our daughter, at her perfect face, her tiny fingers curled against my chest. This miracle that had destroyed my body, and apparently my marriage. Get out, I said. This is my apartment too. I don't care. Get out. He stood up, grabbed his keys from the counter. I'll be back tomorrow for my things. Take them now. It's late. I'll come back tomorrow. He left. I heard the door close, heard his footsteps in the hallway, heard the elevator ding, and then silence. I sat there holding our daughter until she woke up hungry. Then I fed her, changed her, rocked her back to sleep, put her in the bassinet, sat on the edge of the bed and stared at nothing. Cameron came back the next day, packed his clothes into suitcases, his laptop, his toiletries, his running shoes, all the little pieces of his life that had been woven into mine. Where will you go? I asked, not because I cared, just because I needed to say something. The silence was suffocating. I'll stay at a hotel for now, then find an apartment. An apartment for you and Amber? He didn't answer, just kept packing. Does she know? I asked. That you're leaving me because I gave birth? I'm leaving because the marriage isn't working. That's not what you said last night. He zipped his suitcase, looked at me. I said I can't help how I feel, and I can't. The birth changed everything. It changed me too, I said. My body, my life, everything. But I didn't abandon you. I'm not abandoning you. I'll pay child support. I'll see our daughter. When? Twice a week. I'll come by after work. For how long? An hour, maybe 2. An hour, I repeated. You'll see your daughter for an hour twice a week. I have to work. I have responsibilities. So do I said. But I don't get to leave for an hour and come back when it's convenient. He picked up his suitcases. I'll call you. He walked out, left me alone with a screaming infant and a body that barely functioned and a heart that had shattered into pieces so small I didn't know how to put them back together. I should have fallen apart, should have collapsed, should have spent days crying in bed. But I had a daughter who needed me, so I kept going, fed her every 2 hours, changed her, walked her around the apartment at 4 a.m. when she wouldn't sleep and I could barely stand. My sister came over when she could, brought food, held the baby so I could shower, told me I should call a lawyer. But I was too exhausted to think about lawyers, too broken to think about anything except surviving the next hour. You need help, she said one day. Real help. You can't do this alone. I don't have a choice. Yes, you do. Mom and Dad would help. I'd help. You don't have to do this by yourself. Cameron's supposed to help. He's her father. Where is he? Working. It's 8 p.m. on a Saturday. I looked at her. He's always working. But he wasn't working. I knew that. He was with Amber, building his new life while I tried to survive in the ruins of our old one. Cameron came by twice a week like he promised, held our daughter for exactly 1 hour each visit, never longer. He'd sit on the couch with her, scroll through his phone, then hand her back when she started crying. She needs her diaper change, I'd say. I have to go. Meeting. It's 7 p.m. Client dinner. He never asked how I was doing, never noticed the weight I was losing, the dark circles under my eyes, the way I moved carefully because everything still hurt. You should rest more, he said once. She doesn't sleep. Babies sleep. Not this baby. He shrugged. Maybe you're doing something wrong. I wanted to throw something at him, to scream, to make him understand what it was like, but I was too tired, too numb, too empty. The weeks blurred together. Our daughter turned 2 months old, then 10 weeks, then 12. She started sleeping a little better. My body started healing, slowly. The pain became manageable. I could walk without wincing, small victories that felt enormous. I went back to work at 8 weeks. Had to. Cameron was paying child support, but it wasn't enough to cover rent and daycare and food and everything else. So I went back, left my daughter at daycare and cried in my car for 20 minutes before driving to the office. My coworkers were kind, asked about the baby, said how lucky I was to have such a beautiful daughter. Nobody asked where my husband was. Maybe they knew. Maybe they guessed. Maybe they just didn't want to know. One night, when our daughter was 14 weeks old, Cameron showed up at 8 p.m. I was feeding her when he walked in. He looked good, rested. His hair was freshly cut. He was wearing a new shirt. Happy. We need to talk, he said. About what? About making this permanent. The separation. I looked at him. At this man I'd loved. This man I'd built a life with. This man whose child I destroyed my body to bring into the world. You want a divorce? I said. I think it's best for everyone. Everyone meaning you and Amber? He had the decency to look uncomfortable. She's part of my life now. I can't keep pretending she's not. How long were you planning to keep pretending? That's not fair. None of this is fair, I said. You cheated on me while I was pregnant. You abandoned me after I had our baby. You told me watching me give birth made you sick. And now you want to divorce me so you can be with the woman you cheated with. You're making this dramatic. I'm stating facts. He sighed, like I was being difficult, like I was the problem. Look, I know this is hard, but we both know the marriage is over. There's no point dragging it out. When did it start? I asked. The affair? When exactly? Does it matter? Yes, 5 months ago. 5 months, I repeated. I was 4 months pregnant. You were different, distant. You barely noticed I existed. I was pregnant. I was sick. I was exhausted. And you were lonely, so you cheated. Yes, he said, like it was reasonable, like I should understand. I was lonely. You didn't need me anymore. Amber did. I stared at him, this stranger wearing my husband's face. Get out. We still need to discuss custody, financial arrangements, the apartment. Get out of my home. It's my home too. I'm on the lease. I've been paying rent. Then I'll leave, I said. I'll take our daughter and you'll never see either of us again. You can't do that. I have rights. You have rights. I said. But you don't have a soul. He left, slammed the door. I sat there holding our daughter until she fell asleep. Then I made calls. To my sister, to my best friend, to a lawyer my sister knew who specialized in family cases. The lawyer was a woman in her 50s named Patricia. Kind eyes, patient voice. She listened while I explained everything, took notes, asked questions. Do you have proof of the affair? She asked. Screenshots of the messages? Good, that helps. And he admitted the affair started while you were pregnant? Yes, 4 months. Even better. She leaned back in her chair. I won't lie to you. Divorce is hard. It's going to be expensive and emotional and draining, but you have a strong case. Adultery, abandonment. If he wants custody, we can fight it. He barely spends time with her now, I said. He holds her for an hour twice a week, never changes her, never feeds her, just sits with her until she cries, then hands her back. Document that, she said. Document everything, every visit, how long, what he does, what he doesn't do. Keep a journal, save texts, emails, everything. It'll matter in court. Okay, one more thing, she said. This is going to hurt. Divorce always does, but you're going to get through it, and you're going to be okay. I nodded, but I didn't believe her. I left her office feeling hollow. This was my life now. Documentation, court dates, fighting over custody of a daughter her father barely wanted, watching my marriage die in legal paperwork. I started keeping a journal, wrote down every time Cameron came to visit, what time he arrived, what time he left, what he did with our daughter. The pattern was always the same. He'd show up, hold her while she was calm, hand her back the moment she fussed, leave. He never changed her diaper, never fed her, never asked about her development, never noticed when she started smiling, or rolling over, or reaching for toys. He was a visitor in her life, not a father. 2 weeks after I hired the lawyer, Cameron's mom called. I hadn't spoken to her since the separation, hadn't known what to say. How do you tell your mother-in-law that her son is disgusted by you? I heard about you and Cameron, she said. Her voice was gentle, sad. I'm so sorry, honey. Did he tell you why? He said you grew apart, that the baby was hard on the marriage, that sometimes these things just don't work out. That's one way to put it, I said. I don't know what happened between you two, she said. And I'm not asking you to tell me, but you're still family. You're the mother of my granddaughter. I'd like to see her, and you. Cameron might not like that. I don't care what Cameron likes, she said firmly. You're my daughter-in-law. That doesn't change because my son is an idiot. I almost laughed. Almost. Okay, Sunday dinner this week. The whole family will be there. Please come. I almost said no. The thought of facing Cameron's family, of them knowing my marriage had failed, of being pitied, was unbearable. But then I thought about his mom, his dad, his sisters, people who'd welcomed me into their family 4 years ago, people who'd thrown me a baby shower and bought gifts and called to check on me after the birth. I'll be there, I said. Sunday dinner at Cameron's parents' house was a tradition, every week without fail. Everyone came. Cameron's 2 sisters, his brother, sometimes aunts and uncles, grandparents. The table was always full, always loud, always chaotic in the best way. I'd loved those dinners. Felt like I'd finally found the big family I'd always wanted. My parents were quiet people. Dinner at their house was silent, polite. Cameron's family was loud, messy, real. I showed up at 5 p.m. with our daughter in her carrier. I'd dressed carefully, nice jeans, a sweater that fit properly now that my body was starting to feel like mine again. I'd lost weight since the birth, too much weight. My clothes hung differently. I looked tired, but I'd put on makeup, done my hair, tried to look like a person instead of a zombie. Cameron's mom opened the door and immediately pulled me into a hug. Oh, honey, she said. Look at you. Come in. Come in. She took the baby carrier from my hands, cooing at our daughter who was awake and alert. Led me into the living room where everyone was gathered. Cameron's dad hugged me, long and tight. We're here for you, he said. Whatever you need. Cameron's sisters hugged me. His brother nodded awkwardly. Everyone was careful, gentle, like I might break. Where's Cameron? His mom asked. He said he'd be here. His dad replied. Should be here any minute. We moved to the dining room. The table was set for 12 people. Cameron's mom had made her famous pot roast. His dad opened wine. His sisters asked about the baby. How was she sleeping? Was she eating okay? Did I need anything? I answered their questions. Tried to act normal. Tried to pretend my life wasn't falling apart. But it was hard. Everything was hard. Cameron arrived at 5:30. I heard his voice in the entryway. Heard him greeting his parents. Then I heard another voice. Female. Higher pitched. Nervous. He walked into the dining room. With Amber. The room went completely silent. Forks stopped midair. Wine glasses froze halfway to mouths. Everyone stared. Cameron's mom stood up slowly. Her face had gone pale. What is this? This is Amber, Cameron said. Like it was normal. Like he hadn't just brought his mistress to family dinner. Like his wife wasn't sitting 15 feet away holding his daughter. She's my girlfriend. I wanted you all to meet her. Your girlfriend, his mom repeated. Her voice was flat. Dangerous. Yes. You're still married. We're separated. It's basically the same thing. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't process what was happening. I was sitting there holding my water glass so tight I thought it might shatter, staring at this woman, Amber. She was younger than me, mid-20s, prettier, perfect makeup, perfect hair, perfect body. The body I used to have before pregnancy destroyed it. She looked uncomfortable but also defiant, like she knew this was wrong but was doing it anyway. Hi everyone, Amber said. Her voice was bright, fake cheerful. It's so nice to finally meet you all. Cameron's told me so much about you. Cameron's sister Jenna stood up. Her chair scraped against the floor. Are you kidding me right now? Jenna, please, Cameron said. Please what? Please pretend you didn't just bring your mistress to family dinner while your wife is sitting right there? Ex-wife, Cameron said. She's your wife, Jenna snapped. You're still married. You have a baby together. And you brought this woman here? I wanted everyone to meet her, Cameron said. We're serious. We're building a life together. You're building a life, I said. My voice came out flat, dead, like it was coming from somewhere outside my body, while I'm at home with our daughter, alone, because you couldn't handle watching me give birth. The room went completely silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Amber looked at confusion in her face. What is she talking about? Nothing, Cameron said quickly. She's being dramatic. I'm being honest, I said. I looked at Amber, really looked at her. Did he tell you why he cheated? Why he started seeing you while I was pregnant with his child? He said you grew apart, Amber said carefully. That the marriage was already over. We grew apart because watching me give birth ruined his attraction to me, I said. Each word came out precise, clear. Those were his exact words. Watching me bring his daughter into the world made him sick, so he started sleeping with you. Amber's face went pale. That's not what he told me. Of course it's not, I said. Because what kind of person admits that out loud? Cameron's face was red, angry. You're twisting things. Am I? I looked at his family, at their shocked faces, at his mom standing frozen by her chair, at his dad gripping the table. Did you all know that your son, your brother, left me 8 weeks after I had his baby because he couldn't stand to look at me anymore? That's not true, Cameron said. Yes, it is, I said. My voice was rising now, getting louder. You told me, in our apartment, you said watching me give birth was traumatic, that you couldn't get the images out of your head, that when you looked at me all you saw was what happened in that room, and it made you sick. Cameron's mom sat down. Her hand was shaking. She looked like she might faint. Tell me she's lying. Mom, tell me you didn't say that to her. Tell me you didn't abandon her because she gave birth to your daughter. Cameron looked around the room, at his family staring at him with horror and disgust, at Amber backing away slowly, at me sitting there with his daughter in my arms, finally telling the truth. She's making it sound worse than it was, he said. Then how was it? His dad asked. His voice was cold, harder than I'd ever heard it. The birth was hard. It was traumatic for me too, watching it, being there. And yes, it changed how I saw her. I can't help that. So, you cheated, Jenna said. So I found someone who made me feel normal again, Cameron said. Someone who didn't remind me of that room, of what I saw. While your wife was at home with your newborn daughter, Cameron's brother said. She had help. Her sister came over. Her sister came over, Jenna repeated, disbelief dripping from every word. Oh well then, that makes it fine. That makes abandoning your wife and baby perfectly acceptable. You don't understand, Cameron said. His voice was rising now too. You weren't there. You didn't see what I saw. It was horrible. All the complications, the panic. It was supposed to be beautiful and it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare for me too, I said quietly. Everyone stopped talking, looked at me. I almost died. Did you know that? The doctors told me after. There were complications. They had to do emergency procedures. And while I was fighting to stay alive, to bring your daughter safely into the world, you were being traumatized by having to watch. I didn't know you almost died, Cameron said. Because you never asked, I said. You never asked how I was. What the doctors said. What happened? You left the hospital while I stayed for 5 days. While our daughter was being monitored. You went home. You slept. You went to work. And then you went to see Amber. The room was silent. Completely silent. Is that true? His mom asked. Her voice was shaking. She was in the hospital for 5 days and you left? I had to work, Cameron said. Someone had to pay the bills. The hospital, the apartment. I couldn't just stop my life. But she could stop hers, his sister said. She could just stay in the hospital. Alone. With a newborn. While you were out sleeping with someone else. This is exactly why I didn't want to come here, Cameron said. I knew you'd all take her side. There are no sides, his mom said. Her voice had gone quiet. Deadly quiet. There's right and wrong, and what you did is wrong. I don't have to listen to this, Cameron said. He grabbed Amber's hand. We're leaving. No, I said. Everyone looked at me. You brought her here, I said to Cameron. My voice was steady now, strong. To your family dinner, to show her off, to make it official. You wanted everyone to meet her, to accept her, to welcome your mistress into the family, while your wife sits here with your daughter. She's not my mistress. We're together now. Because you destroyed our marriage, I said. Because I committed the unforgivable sin of giving birth to your daughter, of not being pretty enough afterward, of reminding you that women are human beings who bleed and hurt and suffer to bring children into the world. That's not fair, Cameron said. None of this is fair, I said. You want to know what's not fair? I still can't sit comfortably. I still wake up in pain. I still look at my body and barely recognize it. And you left me because I wasn't attractive enough anymore. I left because I couldn't stay, he said. Because I disgusted you. Yes, he said. The word came out sharp, angry, like I'd forced it out of him. Yes, okay? The birth disgusted me. Watching you like that disgusted me, and I couldn't pretend anymore. I couldn't be married to someone I couldn't even look at without seeing that room. The silence was deafening. Amber pulled her hand away from Cameron's, stepped back. You told me she was difficult, that she pushed you away, that the marriage was already over before you met me. It was over, Cameron said. No, it wasn't, I said. We were happy. We were trying for a baby. We were planning our future. And then I got pregnant and everything changed for you. That's not how it happened. Then how did it happen? Amber asked. She was looking at Cameron like she was seeing him for the first time. Really seeing him. Tell me the truth. When did it start? Really? 5 months ago. When was she pregnant? 4 months. Amber stepped back further. Her hand went to her mouth. Oh my God. It's not what you think, Cameron said. You told me the marriage was over, Amber said. Her voice was shaking. You told me she didn't love you, that she'd pushed you away, that you were miserable, that the relationship had been dead for years. I was miserable. Because she was pregnant with your baby, Amber's voice cracked. Because she was carrying your child, and that made you feel invisible? Because everything changed. Because she didn't need me anymore. So you cheated, Amber said. And then you blamed her for giving birth. And then you left her alone with a newborn. And then you told me she was the problem, that she was difficult, that she was cruel. She is the problem, Cameron said. Look at her. She's sitting there playing the victim, making me look like a monster in front of my whole family. You are a monster, Jenna said. She'd walked around the table, was standing next to me now. You're my brother and I love you. But what you did is unforgivable. She almost died having your baby. And you abandoned her because you couldn't handle reality. I didn't abandon her. I pay child support. I visit. You visit for an hour twice a week, I said. You've never changed her diaper. Never fed her a bottle. Never gotten up with her at night. Never taken her to a doctor's appointment. Never dealt with her crying or her fussing or any of the hard parts. You show up, hold her while she's calm, then leave the moment she needs something. I work long hours. So do I said. I went back to work 6 weeks after giving birth. I had to, because you stopped paying the full rent. So I'm working full-time and taking care of our daughter and recovering, alone. You have your sister. My sister has her own life, I said. She shouldn't have to take care of me because my husband abandoned me 8 weeks postpartum. I didn't abandon you. Yes, you did, his mom said. She'd been sitting there silent, crying quietly. Now she stood up. You absolutely did, and I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed to call you my son. Cameron's face went white. Mom, don't, she said. Don't try to explain. Don't try to justify. There is no justification for what you did. You left your wife when she needed you most. You blamed her for the natural process of giving birth. You cheated on her while she was pregnant. You brought your mistress to my home, to family dinner, while your wife sits here with your daughter. You don't understand, Cameron said. His voice was shaking now, desperate. Then explain it to me, his mom said. Explain how you justify abandoning your family. Explain how you live with yourself. I can't be married to someone I'm not attracted to anymore, he said. Because she gave birth, his mom said. Yes. To your daughter? Yes. And that disgusts you? Yes, he said, louder now, defensive. I know it's not politically correct. I know I'm supposed to say it was beautiful and miraculous, but it wasn't. It was horrifying, and it changed how I see her. And I can't change that. I can't force myself to feel something I don't feel. His mom walked over to him, looked him in the eye. Get out. Mom, get out of my house. And take her with you. Amber was already halfway to the door. Cameron looked around the room, at his family, at their disgusted faces, at me holding his daughter. This is your fault, he said to me. You couldn't just let me be happy. You had to ruin everything. I ruined everything, I repeated. My voice was calm, dead calm. By having your baby, by making me watch, he said. By dragging me into that room, by making me see things I can never unsee. You could have told me to wait outside, but no, you insisted I be there. You made me watch. You wanted to be there, I said. You insisted on being there. You held my hand. You told me I was strong. You told me you loved me. You told me we were doing this together. I was lying, he said. The words came out harsh, brutal. I was trying to be supportive, but all I wanted was for it to be over. I wanted to be anywhere else, and now I am. The silence that followed was absolute. His mom's hand came up. She slapped him, hard, across the face. The sound echoed through the room. Get out, she said again. Now. And don't come back until you remember what it means to be a decent human being. Cameron touched his cheek, looked at his mom with shock, with betrayal. Then he turned and walked out. Amber followed him. The door slammed. I sat there holding my daughter, numb, empty, hearing his words echo in my head. I was lying. All I wanted was for it to be over. He'd stood there in the delivery room, held my hand, told me to push, told me I was doing great, told me he loved me, and he'd been lying the entire time, wanting to be anywhere else, wishing he could escape. Cameron's mom came over, knelt beside my chair, put her hand on my arm. I'm so sorry, she said. She was crying. I had no idea. He told us you grew apart. He never said, I'm so sorry. It's not your fault, I said. My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. He's my son. I raised him, and somehow I raised a man who could do this to you, to his own child. That is my fault. Jenna sat down on my other side, put her arm around my shoulders. You're not alone, she said. You have us. We're your family too. He's your brother, and you're our sister, she said. That doesn't change. We choose you. Cameron's dad came over. His eyes were red. What can we do? How can we help? I don't know, I said honestly. I don't know what I need. We'll figure it out, his mom said. Together. You're not doing this alone anymore. But I barely heard her. I was looking at my daughter, at her perfect face, thinking about how her father blamed her for destroying his marriage, how he resented her for being born, how he'd left us both because we weren't enough, because I'd committed the unforgivable sin of bringing her into the world. They convinced me to stay for dinner. Cameron's family surrounded me with warmth and support. They held my daughter, brought me food I couldn't eat, told me stories to distract me, but I couldn't stop thinking about Cameron's face when he said it. I was lying. I wanted it to be over. Every moment of support he'd given me during the birth had been a lie. Every word of encouragement. Every time he told me I was strong. Every time he said he loved me. All lies. I went home that night and put my daughter to bed. Then I sat in the dark living room and let myself feel everything I'd been holding back. The pain, the betrayal, the humiliation, the absolute devastation of knowing the man I'd loved had been disgusted by me at my most vulnerable moment. My phone buzzed. Cameron, you had no right to tell my family about our private conversations. I stared at the message, couldn't believe what I was reading. You brought your mistress to family dinner, I typed back. While I was sitting there with our daughter, you don't get to talk about rights. Amber broke up with me, thanks to you. Good, this is your fault. You turned my family against me. You made me look like a monster. I told them the truth. You did the rest. I want to see my daughter. You see her twice a week. I want more time. Then show up, I typed. Be a father. Actually take care of her instead of just holding her for an hour. Change her diaper, feed her, get up with her at night, be a parent. I have work. So do I. He didn't respond. The next few weeks were a nightmare. Cameron hired a lawyer, filed for divorce, requested joint custody. My lawyer, Patricia, filed counter motions. We documented everything. His minimal visits, his lack of involvement, his affair, his own admission that he'd left because he was disgusted by the birth. He's going to argue that you're trying to alienate him from his daughter, Patricia said during one of our meetings, that you're using the baby as a weapon because you're angry about the affair. I'm not. I've never kept her from him. He just doesn't show up. I know, and we'll prove that. But be prepared. He's going to try to paint you as vindictive, as unstable, as someone who's using the baby to punish him. How do I prove I'm not? Keep doing what you're doing. Document everything. Every time he's supposed to visit and doesn't. Every time he cuts a visit short. Every time he hands her back when she cries. Keep that journal. Save every text, every email, everything. Okay, one more thing, Patricia said. He's going to bring up the fact that you aired your private business at his family dinner. He's going to say you were trying to humiliate him, to turn his family against him. I told the truth. I know, but he's going to twist it. Make it sound like you're vengeful. So be ready for that. The divorce proceedings dragged on for months. Depositions, discovery, financial disclosures. Cameron's lawyer tried to paint me as an unfit mother, as someone with depression who couldn't handle basic parenting. My lawyer countered with evidence of Cameron's affair, his abandonment, his own admission that he'd left because watching me give birth disgusted him. We ended up in court on a cold morning in late fall. Our daughter was 7 months old. I'd left her with my sister. Couldn't bear to bring her to this. The courtroom was sterile, cold. The judge was a woman in her 60s with gray hair and sharp eyes. She'd clearly heard every story before, every excuse, every justification. Cameron's lawyer went first, painted a picture of a struggling couple, 2 people who'd grown apart during a difficult pregnancy, a man who'd made a mistake but wanted to be involved in his daughter's life, a woman who was using the baby to punish him for that mistake. Patricia stood up for our turn. She laid out everything, the affair that started while I was pregnant, Cameron's own words about being disgusted by the birth, his minimal involvement, his twice-weekly hour-long visits where he never changed a diaper or fed a bottle. She presented the journal I'd kept. Every visit documented, times, duration, what he did, what he didn't do. The pattern was undeniable. The judge read through everything in silence. Then she looked at Cameron. You're asking for joint custody, she said. Yes, Your Honor, Cameron said. How often do you currently see your daughter? Twice a week. For how long? An hour each time. That's 2 hours a week, the judge said. And you want joint custody? 50-50 time. Yes, she's my daughter. I love her. Tell me what you do during those visits, the judge said. Cameron shifted uncomfortably. I hold her, play with her, spend time with her. Have you ever changed her diaper? No, but her mother is always there. Have you ever fed her? She's breastfeeding. She also takes bottles. Have you ever fed her a bottle? No. Have you ever put her to bed? No. Taken her to a doctor's appointment? No. I work during the day. So do I said quietly. Everyone looked at me. I work full-time, and I take her to every appointment, every checkup, every vaccination, because I'm her mother. Because that's what parents do. The judge looked at me, then back at Cameron. You say you love your daughter, but you've done nothing that demonstrates that love. You visit for 2 hours a week. You hold her when she's calm. You hand her back when she cries. That's not parenting, that's babysitting. Your Honor, I want to be more involved, Cameron said. But her mother makes it difficult. How does she make it difficult? The judge asked. Does she refuse to let you see your daughter? No. But does she limit your time? No. But the atmosphere when I'm there is uncomfortable because you cheated on her, the judge said. Because you left her 8 weeks after she gave birth. Because you told her watching her give birth disgusted you. Is that what you're trying to say? Cameron's lawyer stood up. Your Honor, those are private marital issues. Those are issues that directly impact this child, the judge said. This man abandoned his wife when she was at her most vulnerable. Then he requested joint custody despite showing minimal interest in actual parenting. That matters. She looked at Cameron. I'm granting primary custody to the mother. You'll have supervised visitation twice a week, 2 hours each time, supervised by a court-appointed monitor. If you want more time, you'll need to demonstrate that you're capable of actual parenting. That means showing up consistently, learning to change diapers, learning to feed and comfort your daughter, learning to be a father instead of a visitor. Your Honor, that's not fair. Fair? The judge said. You want to talk about fair? You cheated on your wife while she was pregnant. You told her watching her give birth disgusted you. You abandoned her 8 weeks postpartum. You've seen your daughter for 2 hours a week for 7 months. And you think you deserve 50-50 custody? She's my daughter. Then act like her father. the judge said. She signed the custody order. Child support is set at 30% of your gross income. You'll also pay 60% of daycare costs and 60% of medical expenses. Next case. Cameron's face went red. This is ridiculous. The judge looked at him. You're in my courtroom. I suggest you watch your tone. We walked out into the hallway. Cameron stood there, furious. His lawyer was talking to him in low tones, but he wasn't listening. You won, he said to me. His voice was sharp, bitter. Congratulations. You got what you wanted. I wanted a partner, I said. I wanted a father for our daughter. I wanted the man I married. Instead, I got you. I hope you're happy. I'm not happy, I said. But I'm free, and so is our daughter. Free from having to pretend you care. His lawyer pulled him away. Patricia put her hand on my shoulder. You okay? No, I said honestly, but I will be. The divorce was finalized 8 weeks later. I got the apartment, primary custody, child support, and my maiden name back. Like the marriage had never happened. Like those 6 years had been erased. Cameron continued his court-ordered supervised visits, twice a week, 2 hours each time. A woman named Helen sat in my living room and watched while he held our daughter, made sure he was appropriate, made sure he was actually parenting. He hated it, hated being watched, hated being judged, but he showed up, probably because his lawyer told him if he didn't, he'd lose even the supervised visits. He learned to change diapers. Helen made him, learn to hold a bottle. Helen made him do that too, but he never looked happy about it, never looked like he wanted to be there. Our daughter started to recognize him eventually, would smile when he walked in, would reach for him, and he'd hold her. But there was no warmth there, no real connection, just obligation. One day, when our daughter was 10 months old, Cameron called. I'm moving, he said. I was at work. Took the call in the parking lot. Where? California, San Francisco. I got a job offer. Better pay, better position. What about our daughter? I'll fly back to visit. Once a month, maybe. Once a month. I have to think about my career, he said. I can't put my life on hold forever. She's your daughter. And I'll still be her father. Just from a distance. We can do video calls. She's 10 months old. She doesn't understand video calls. She'll adapt. No, I said. You'll need to get court approval to move out of state, and I'm going to fight it. Of course you are, he said, because you can't stand to see me happy. I can't stand to see you abandon your daughter again. I'm not abandoning her. I'm taking a better job. In California, 3,000 miles away. It's the opportunity of a lifetime, and she's your daughter. She should be your priority. She is my priority, he said, but his voice was empty. We both knew he was lying. He filed for permission to relocate. I fought it. Patricia presented evidence that he'd barely been involved even when he lived 10 minutes away, that moving across the country would effectively end his relationship with his daughter. The judge denied his request. Cameron moved anyway. He quit his supervised visits, stopped responding to texts about our daughter, just disappeared. Patricia said we could file for contempt, for abandonment, but I was tired of fighting, tired of forcing him to be a father when he clearly didn't want to be. So I let him go. He called once when our daughter turned 1, left a voicemail saying happy birthday, didn't send a gift, didn't ask how she was doing, just a 30-second voicemail and then nothing. My daughter is 2 years old now. She's walking, talking, full sentences. She's funny and smart and beautiful. She has no memory of her father. When I show her pictures, she doesn't recognize him. Who's that? She asks. That's your daddy, I say. Where is he? Far away. When is he coming back? I don't know, sweetheart. She doesn't ask often. She has grandparents. Cameron's parents stayed in our lives. They visit every week. His mom babysits. His dad built her a play kitchen. His sisters take her to the zoo. They're more involved than Cameron ever was. I'm sorry about my son, his mom said one day while we were having lunch. My daughter was playing at the table next to us, coloring. I don't understand how he turned out this way. It's not your fault, I said. Isn't it? She said. I raised him. I taught him his value, or I tried to. Somewhere along the way, I failed. He made his own choices. But I shaped those choices, she said. I enabled him, made excuses for him, let him think the world revolved around him. And now look what he's become, a man who abandons his own child. You didn't make him cheat. You didn't make him leave. No, she said. But I didn't prepare him for reality either. I let him think life would always be easy, that women existed to make him happy, that when things got hard, he could just walk away. He's an adult. He chose to walk away. And I chose to raise a man who thought that was acceptable. We sat in silence for a while, watching my daughter color, watching her concentrate on staying inside the lines. She's beautiful, his mom said. Just like you. She looks like Cameron. She has his eyes, his mom agreed. But everything else is you. Your smile, your spirit, your strength. I don't feel strong. You are, she said. Stronger than I ever was. Stronger than most people. You survived something that would have destroyed me. I didn't have a choice. You had every choice, she said. You could have fallen apart. You could have given up. You could have let this break you. But you didn't. You kept going. For her. That's real strength. I meet other single moms sometimes. At the park, at daycare drop-off, at mommy and me classes. They ask about my daughter's dad. I used to make excuses. Say he was busy. Say he worked a lot. Now I just tell the truth. He left. After the birth, they ask. Like it's a common story. Maybe it is. During the pregnancy, I say. He started an affair while I was pregnant, then left after the birth because he said watching me give birth ruined his attraction to me. Their faces always do the same thing. Shock, then horror, then anger, then pity. How did you survive, they ask. I didn't have a choice, I say. I had a daughter who needed me, so I survived. And I did survive. I'm stronger now than I was before Cameron. I know what I can handle. I know what I deserve. I know that I don't need a man to complete me or validate me or tell me I'm worthy. My daughter will grow up knowing her mother fought for her, that when her father walked away, I stayed, that when things got impossible, I made it work anyway. And someday, when she's old enough to understand, I'll tell her the truth, not to make her hate her father, but to show her that women are stronger than anyone gives us credit for, that we endure things that would break other people, that we survive things we shouldn't have to survive, because that's what mothers do. We survive. We adapt. We keep going even when every instinct says to quit. Cameron called last month, first time in over a year, said he was thinking about moving back east, that he wanted to be more involved in our daughter's life. Why now? I asked. Because I miss her. You had 2 years to miss her. What changed? I met someone, he said. She has 2 kids, and being around them made me realize what I'm missing with my own daughter. I almost laughed. So you want to be a father now because your new girlfriend has children. That's not fair. Fair? I said. You abandoned your daughter for 2 years. You moved across the country. You stopped calling. You forgot her birthday. And now you want to be a dad because it fits your current relationship? I made mistakes. I know that. But I want to fix them. You can't fix this, I said. You can't abandon a child for 2 years and then decide you want to be involved because it's convenient. She's my daughter. Then act like it, I said. Show up. Be consistent. Be a father. Not because your girlfriend has kids. Not because it's convenient. But because our daughter deserves better than what you've given her. I will, he said. I promise. I've heard his promises before. They mean nothing. But I'll let him try. Not for him. For my daughter. Because every child deserves a chance to know their father. Even if that father doesn't deserve them. And if he fails again, if he disappears again, if he proves that he's exactly who I know he is, then my daughter will know. She'll know I gave him every opportunity, that I never kept him from her, that when he chose to leave, it was his choice, not mine. And she'll grow up knowing that some people are strong enough to stay, and some people aren't. The ones who stay, the ones who fight, the ones who survive, those are the ones who matter. I'm one of those people, and so is she.